Games are won in the trenches. Games are also lost in the trenches. Is Georgia going to be doing...
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Sorry, I'll see myself out.
This is Locked On Bulldogs, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. He is Daniel, I'm Clint, the confluence of which is Locked On Bulldogs, as Daniel was illustrious and articulately saying. Games are won and lost in the trenches, which I think is a great way to open the show. If I could.
Yeah, and only that is a great way to open. Nothing else would.
We're talking today about the offensive line for Georgia.
Yeah.
One of the everydayers, by the way, if you're not part of the everyday, you can get in lockedonbulldogs.supercast.com, become an everydayer, and therefore tell us what you want to see happen. This is brought to you by one of our everydayers. Talking about the offensive line. Kirby Smart, notorious for wanting trenches, running the ball, stopping the run. And can I just say in a word, offensive line was often shuffled last year with injury. Couple of true freshmen. I mean, as new as dawn day coming on campus, being forced to play meaningful, significant snaps for Georgia. This just in, we lost our starting left tackle. He gone.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
We're just jumping right into all the bad news. I see. Okay.
Well, it makes you wonder, Daniel, as other schools are paying people $40 million to come play left tackle in purple and yellow. What does it mean for Georgia and the offensive line? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about prospects for next year. Very much looking forward to it. It's a worthwhile conversation, by the way. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel, get in with FanDuel. We love them. FanDuel.com. More on them in a second.
Yeah. So you mentioned it, Clint, right off the jump. Yeah. Let's start with the losses. Okay. And we'll start with Monroe Freeling. Right? The NFL draft comes calling, and Monroe Freeling answers the call.
Yeah.
Not hanging around in Athens anymore. Micah Morris also notably out of eligibility in Athens, and so he'll be moving on from the team as well. In addition to that, though, you've got guys like Bo Hewley who transfer out of the program. Uini transfers out. A couple other guys, Merriweather transfers out. So there's been, Uini does not transfer out. Nair Daniels transfers out. Bo Hewley transfers out. Merriweather transfers out. I got my names confused there, but so some notable departures. I think if we start with the transfers,
sure.
I think Bo Hewley's the name that hurts the most. And am I wrong in saying that Bo Hewley's the only name that moves the needle there for you, Clint?
Bo Hewley is the only name that moves the needle. And with Monroe Freeling going, I mean, go get paid. This feels very much like edge last year for us with Gabe Harris coming back. Edge defenders, Damon Wilson goes and gets paid, has a pretty dang good year, but he would have gotten snap count reps, not nearly as many as he did as Mizzou. But this reeks the same because
if that's the case, this is tough because that was a tough transfer. That's the Wilson transfer was a tough transfer. Maybe the worst in Georgia's to date in Athens in terms of the most significant loss.
From what his production was elsewhere to what our production was, and the loss of that, the delta between the two, quite large.
Yeah.
Bo Hewley could have been starting left tackle coming out of camp for UGA, another playoff push. So gets paid, gets the money. I understand it to that degree. I don't understand it with the reps and the exposure and the development aspect. As Monroe Freeling looks to be a first-round talent. That's why he went to the NFL. He's either getting first round, late first round, or early second round grading is why he wants to get in there. And he thinks somebody's going to be desperate enough to jump in and get a tackle late in the first round, which he probably is correct on.
Yeah.
As he continues to skyrocket up. So yeah, the other names don't do anything for me though. But his I take notice of, Daniel.
Yeah. Okay. So those are the transfers. I agree with you, except I think your Damon Wilson take is a bit much. I don't think we're there. I do agree he's the most impactful transfer. I don't think we're there. We're going to talk in the second segment about why I actually feel great about this offensive line. But yes, Monroe.
Interesting.
That's significant. Micah Morris leaving, that is significant. Micah Morris, a stalwart on the inside, really productive player for us, and a guy that I think that we have seen year in and year out produce. I think that's a guy you're really going to miss. I'm going to be wild here, Clint. Of all the transfers and the graduates and the NFL draft guys, I think Micah Morris is the biggest loss. I think he's a bigger loss even than Monroe Freeling, and I think that's not a slight on Monroe. I think he's a sensational player. I think he had a heck of a season. I think what we saw from him in elevating his game was spectacular, and a real reason for Georgia's success this year, for Gunnar Stockton's success this year, was what he was able to provide there on the edge. So I do think that's a loss, but it's more of a compliment to Micah Morris. I think it's an even bigger loss. The left side of that offensive line completely going to be reshuffled, restructured, and reworked. How's it going to happen? We'll get to that maybe in the second segment of how I see things playing out next year. But there are some significant losses. I think I'll say this just as a preview. I think Bo Hughley, Clint, if he had come back to Georgia, would have had the opportunity to compete to be the sixth man on this offensive line.
That's interesting.
I think that he would have had an opportunity to compete for a non-starting spot. But that would not have been guaranteed to him based on what is coming back and who we will have in the fold. And so
wild.
I do not share this sentiment of concern over the offensive line heading into 2026. I actually think, and you can call me whatever you want, but if you know me, for those of you that actually know me, know
he's a Disney dog.
I have no reason to be optimistic about anything. I shun optimism. Full stop. Okay? Like that ain't the way that I live my life.
No.
I actually think this 2026 Georgia offensive line has a good chance to be better than the 2025.
Now, what's wild about that? I just gave you the Bo Hughley and Damon Wilson, and I don't disagree with what you just said. I actually think
I think we're in line here.
Better shape than we were this
year.
I'm
trying to say.
If
the math doesn't add up, come back for the second segment. I will walk you through where I see key players slotting in and how it's all going to shape out. We'll get to that in the second segment. But first, let me tell you about these.
And these are, in fact, FanDuel. FanDuel is fantastic. Daniel loves them. I love them. You should love them as well. FanDuel.
College football playoff championship tonight.
Ooh, hello.
I wonder if FanDuel will be littered with player props and ways that you can same game parlay Mendoza over passing yards, maybe Ruben Bain over half a sack. You parlay these things together. You have a lot of fun. FanDuel offers you all of those things.
And they do offer you all the fun. Get over to FanDuel right now with Profit Boost. When the getting is good. Live action hits, get live parlays, everything all right there. Apply the Profit Boost, go over even bigger winnings when you win. FanDuel pays out instantly. Perfect playoff football. FanDuel's best place to go. Again, the action all playoff long. Visit FanDuel.com. Get your college football playoff Profit Boost every game day. Math is going to math. I promise you. This isn't like let me switch this number. Let's go from red to black in just blink of an eye because I scrambled some things. No. We're going to show you our work here. We're going to show you First of all, the depth that we have coming back, and not just the depth we have coming back, I'm talking top end talent coming back compared to last year. If you remember last year, Daniel, do you remember the taste we had in our mouth from the offensive line from the Sugar Bowl loss to Notre Dame coming back and trying to preview the 2 plays that tanked our season?
Good Lord.
Kickoff for a touchdown. And Monroe Freeling forgetting assignment after assignment after assignment and letting free rushers blow past him on the left side. Again, heck of a player. We're glad he was a dog. He's going to do good in the NFL. And also blew that game wide open for Notre Dame. We should have been blowing it wide open for us. We didn't feel good coming off that loss.
No.
At all.
No.
This year.
Not at all.
May I suggest? I might have the exact opposite feeling of the guys returning as I did last year with the guys returning. Daniel?
Yeah, and I mean, let me give you a caveat quickly before we really get deep into this, okay? Because what I'm going to pitch to you is that I don't know who the 5 offensive linemen are going to be, but I know who 4 of them are going to be, and I know who's competing for the 5th spot, and therefore I think this offensive line is going to be not good, but elite. But, and there's a significant but.
Add the asterisks.
All of this is contingent on Drew Bobo's long-term health.
Okay. Yep.
Because it
must
be said out loud.
When Drew Bobo
not
played the game,
foregone conclusion that Drew Bobo will play football again. It is not a foregone conclusion that Drew Bobo will play football again. And if he does play football again, it is not a foregone conclusion, depending on what type of injury he has sustained. It is not a foregone conclusion that he will be ready by September, by Labor Day, to play football again. And so even if he's back at some point next year, it may not be week 1, week 2. And so you're going to end up with some potential problem. Now, it might be something that by midsummer, he's fine and he's snapping the football again and he's working with Gunnar Stockton. He's able to get back in the weight room and he's able to get his conditioning where it needs to be and he's ready to go for fall camp. That could be, and I pray that it is. And everything I'm about to say is contingent on that, because if Georgia doesn't have Drew Bobo next year, forget everything I'm about to say. Panic. It's time to panic. It's
Drew
time
Bobo,
to panic.
Go back and watch. Again, Tolliver came in, did a fine job in action to begin with. There were a couple of slip-ups, there were a couple of miss-ups. But then, when the getting needed to be getting much better, the interior of the offensive line fell apart.
It was not good in critical moments.
Wet bread in the beaks of seagulls, just crumbling apart everywhere.
Yeah.
It wasn't good for anybody. Bobo coming back and being up to par what he was, which was our most consistent offensive line player all year. I think Ernest Green, Monroe Freeling had far better upside. I think Juan Gaston is all world. I think Glover is all world. Those ceilings are far, but consistency. Bobo is what happened. It's much like him and SVP. Cedric Van Pran are very, very similar in how they play and their importance to this offensive line. And when SVP was in there, we had a stabilizing force. When Bobo's in there, we have a stabilizing force, both in run and pass. If Gunnar Stockton's going to make a step forward this coming year with reads, he's going to have to trust his offensive line to go ahead and make the same reads on protection as well as run fits. And Bobo needs to be in there and needs to be centering that offensive line. His coming back is huge. I just have a question for you. Is Ernest Green, and I used, if this was 3 years ago, I would have been saying this in disgust, but I'm not saying it in disgust today. Is he Xavier Truss 2.0 coming back?
No.
Great.
Ernest Green's better. Ernest Green has more talent in his left hand than Xavier Truss has in his whole body.
Then you've helped me accentuate my point that we were talking about Xavier Truss coming back offensive line for last year's group, 2 years ago. And we were like, okay, that's okay with me. I'm not super thrilled about it, but I'm okay with it at right tackle. Ernest Green coming back. I'm not simply
when healthy this year, he got better and better and better and better, Clint.
If the worst he can do is Xavier Truss, Dog fans, be thrilled, because that's his basement drilled down to some sort of weird tunneling system between neighbors floor.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
He is far higher than that. His ceiling is far higher. The skill set is far greater. Ernest Green and Bobo coming back are huge. Those are the quote veteran presences. Most snap counts coming back between them in their careers on the offensive line. 2 of the 4 that you mentioned.
Mhm.
Now, Daniel,
the other
2 of the other 4.
Yeah. Do they move the needle for you, Clint? Okay. May we start with Dontrell Glover, because Dontrell Glover hasn't done anything except allowed the elite talent evaluators of the pay for clicks recruiting service industries to award him with 3 whole stars as a high school prospect coming out. He was, oh gosh, I mean, where did I just looked at this? Where did 24/7 have him rated?
Oh yeah.
Dontrell Glover was rated as he did not have a national rating.
I was going to say
he was
Daniel,
rated as the 65th best prospect in Georgia.
You mean the guy who wound up becoming an all freshman SEC pick? First team. You mean that kid? You mean the kid that, if I remember reading one report when he came out, because this cracked me up. They basically, I'm paraphrasing, it's not word, but they said he's just a big lump and a big mass. He's just got size. He looks the part. He looks big, but other than that, doesn't play well on his feet. Isn't nimble. Isn't strong at the point of attack. Doesn't have lower body strength. Pad level needs development. I mean, those are the things that you read on whatever it was, and then all of a sudden to go fast forward. First team, all freshman, all SEC. Yeah. Come on.
Now, the other guy coming back is Juan Gaston. And I don't think I need to go on and on about Juan Gaston. Here's what I will say about him. He ain't going to play guard, Clint.
Thank you.
Juan Gaston's your left tackle.
You beat me to the punch. He's the left tackle.
Juan Gaston's your left tackle. And I love that. I just, that's why I say the Bo Hughley transfer news was like, yeah, I get it, Bo. I understand. If I were you, I probably would have gone to Colorado as well. Because you weren't going to take Monroe Freeling's spot. That spot was not there for you to take.
When Tolliver came in, we didn't slide anybody down in to take that. When Bobo got hurt, Juan Gaston is an absolute road grader at guard. I get that. I understand.
Yeah.
But he showed his worth in pass pro. At guard, you slid him in, you did combo blocks. He was fine on his feet. SEC had guys stunting all over the place, and he was fine in pass pro, gave up very little pressure up the middle. Put him on the left side and let him go to work. I'm telling you right now. Monroe Freeling, I'm so glad you were a dog and you played left tackle. We may have a better left tackle next year than we did this year.
All right. So that leaves the left guard spot. And I think, to me, there are 2 names that I'm looking at. I'm looking at strongly. I don't think Tolliver is one of them. I don't think you're going to see Tolliver kick out to guard if Bobo is in there. I think Tolliver is the backup center, and he will be the guy that plays if Bobo is not able to go 100%.
That was solidified last year.
I don't think he's going to play guard.
No.
I think you're looking at 1 or 2 guys. The first name is Daniel Calhoun, a dog that was not ready last year, and a dog that I encourage you, ask yourself this question.
Okay.
Because this season, this portion of the calendar that we're in right now, too many people are asking the question, Clint, why did this guy transfer?
Important
question that you ought to be asking
Go on.
is, why did this guy not transfer?
Why'd he stay?
Why did Daniel Calhoun, a guy who was supposed to be competing for a guard spot, an offensive line that was wide open last year, if you recall the pay for clicks sites, all told you going into the season, this is Daniel Calhoun is going to be your starting right guard.
And most of them
to be your starting right guard.
And most of them called him the best offensive lineman Georgia was going to have.
Yeah. So he was not in any. Two freshmen started ahead of him. Like
well
two true freshmen started ahead of him at right guard. He didn't even sniff any action in a season where Georgia was so banged up on the offensive line that it feels like anybody could have played. He was not ready. I encourage you, Georgia fans, do not give up on a young man who was not ready to play as a redshirt freshman last year, his second year in Athens, because he has clearly not given up on himself. If he had given up on himself and his ability to get into this rotation, if he thought it was a dead end, if he thought there was no path forward for him, he's not an idiot.
No.
He's a former high 4-star prospect, University of Georgia offensive lineman. Somebody would pay him some real money to come to their school and compete for a job. But Daniel Calhoun believes that he has a future at Georgia. And so that's all I'm telling you, Georgia fans. Ask yourself the question, why would this guy not transfer? Last year was his year, and he got beaten out by younger guys.
Somebody might say, hey, he's betting on himself. And, oh, yeah, this just in LSU is going to break the bank for a one-time kid who rated pretty high on prospect lists before choosing to go to Colorado to continue his career. And they're about to break. They would have paid. He would have been starting on many other offensive lines. He's betting on himself in a big, big way. Daniel, I got the third segment, the loyal third segment listeners that like the fourth segment that turn into third segment people turn into fourth segment people in a hurry. And they're all matriculating over there. We're going to get to that. But first, these are in fact TurboTax. Tax season doesn't just have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever. Hand things off and move on with your day. TurboTax full service. You can handle all your taxes and have it done by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the stress or guesswork. They handle everything, W-2s, self-employment forms, and get you every single deduction. Limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 in all. If a TurboTax expert doesn't file for you last year, just file it by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate. Get back to your life. Visit turbotax.com/local to book your appointment today. We're here.
Third segment, Clint. Third segment. Let's finish up this offensive line conversation. LockedOnBulldogs.supercast.com, by the way. Over there, there's two options. You can find ad-free episodes if you're interested in that. You can also find the all-access plan, which gives you access to the text thread for Clint and I, access to bonus episodes. There's a continually growing list of bonus episodes that you can go back and listen to and digest. We call it the fourth segment, and it's the most fun that we have with these microphones in front of us. That's for sure. All of that and more, LockedOnBulldogs.supercast.com. So if you're interested, get over there. If not, glad you're here. Welcome. This show will always be free because that's what we want it to be. So let's finish up this offensive line. I think Daniel Calhoun is the first name. I think the second name at left guard, Clint, is Cortez Smith. I think that's the guy, highly touted freshman last year. I think he's got an opportunity. This 2025 offensive line class, Clint, has a chance to be one of the best that Georgia has ever signed, ever. Yeah. It already has Dontrell Glover and Juan Gaston in it. I think Cortez Smith has a chance to be elite as well. And so I think he's another name to be watching. Uini is also obviously in there. I think he's a name that you keep an eye on. But I think those two guys particularly, I think one of them is going to win that job. And I'll just be honest with you, Clint. That 5 right there that I just listed, Juan Gaston, one of those 2 guys,
Ooh.
Drew Bobo, Dontrell Glover, and then Ernest Green. That 5 right there, I think is going to be exceptionally good.
You didn't even mention Harrison, by the way.
I didn't.
Which I think is a fine prospect. You're telling me this offensive line. And look, last year we were coming off an abysmal running performance. This next year, we were coming off a great running performance.
Mm-hmm.
And the year following, we have more reps coming back, more highly successful reps coming back. Because not all reps are the same. Sometimes you can get reps coming back and you don't want them back. You want to purge those reps from your record.
Yep. Those are the Daniel Harris reps is what we call those. Good riddance to you, sir.
But the kid who did that last year, who went to, you can't follow the bouncing around. It's like a bouncing ball on a screen. It's like the DVD menu. You're hoping that it hits a corner somewhere. You can't tell where it's going to go. This offensive line, meaningful reps, high efficiency reps coming back. So thrilled for this offensive line, and we're going to need them. We have running game. We have gunner. We have 8 players back that are going to factor in heavily to the offensive line success next year in Mike Bobo. Wide receiver, I didn't even list the tight ends, Daniel, of this run game, which they're manimals, every one of them.
Is the tight end room going to be any good next year, Clint?
Is it at Georgia? Are you asking if the tight end room at Georgia is going to be good next year? Because the answer is perpetually yes.
Can I give you a wild card?
Please.
Can we get weird here in the third segment? Can I give you an offensive line wild card?
Okay, go ahead.
What if Juan Gaston is your left guard?
Okay.
What if Ernest Green is your right tackle?
Great.
Bo Hughley transfers. It could be.
Okay.
And this is hypothetical. It could be because every day in practice, he didn't feel like he was getting enough vitamin D because he had to stand next to a literal mountain of a human person, and the sun was perpetually blocked from his field of vision. He was not able to access the sky any longer because Jazair Jackson
all out of luck.
Yeah, because Jackson over there next to him, every bit of 6'10", 3 bills if he is a quarter.
You're making Juan Gaston look small.
What if the man's been on campus? He's been going through spring practice. He's been going through fall camp. He's been going through season-long practice. He's been working with the scout team. Clint, does the scout team get any good reps? Have there been any valuable reps gained from the scout team going up against Gabe Harris every week? Has he gained any valuable reps?
Every single freaking day.
All I'm trying to tell you is there's a wild card out there. His name's Jazair Jackson, and he is an unusually large human being. You can't teach it. You can't teach a wingspan that's like 7'5" at tackle. Like, you understand when you put your hand in somebody's chest and you extend, that person's now behind the line of scrimmage. Like, you've
go back and I mean, this was wild. I audited some people because when you say stupid
quality
stuff,
assurance, Clint works in our quality assurance department.
You say stupid stuff.
Sometimes he goes around,
and I gotta go back and I gotta go. Hold on, what did you say before the season? Again, I thought LSU was a playoff team. I got the other playoff teams from the SEC right. I thought I was dead wrong. LSU, we were both wrong. But when we looked at both Glover and Juan Gaston's film, we said, they leapt out to us. Again, these are the guys saying, "Oh, they just have size. They need further form." Okay. You want to talk about a wild card name, Daniel? You said this 2025 offensive line might have the ability to be one of the best, right?
Yeah. I see where you're going. and I support it.
Did we
support it.
Did we start 2 freshmen Daniel, this last year?
Hang on. So what, if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying that freshmen, it's possible to start as a freshman at offensive tackle at the University of Georgia? Is that what you're saying?
This is what I'm saying, and we've had quite a few dang good ones. What if I was to tell you that Ogboku got that that star bump, got that 5th star all of a sudden coming in as a freshman? I know Jackson is a mountain of a man, and watching his film gets me excited as well. But a guy who's coming in who's real raw still, I understand. Just like Juan Gaston and Glover were raw. That's the scouting report that we got.
Yep.
Wound up becoming very, very informative for us.
I feel really good about this offensive line, Clint. I don't know. They're not coached by Mike White, but it's a similar feeling, is what I'm trying to tell you.
See,
I get a similar feeling. Hey, check back on tomorrow's episode, because might be a little basketball preview. Might be a little Georgia, Missouri, big game on the road in the SEC. Game.
Missouri, did they have a big win recently?
Might be a little preview of that. Couple big wins for Mizzou. Couple big wins for them Dogs too, Clint. I'm not sure if you were paying attention over the weekend, but check back with us. We will be with you each and every day. Thanks for being with us. You guys are the best, and we'll talk to you next time.
See ya.